everybody out there in YouTube land, and welcome to DC Fans United. So I woke up and saw some really troubling news. I'm sure pretty much everyone's seen this by now, and everyone and their brother is going to be posting a YouTube video about it. With that being said, I wanted to make my statement on it. First of all, I used to watch Bill Maher back in the day, probably, 2007, 2008 era. I used to think he was pretty funny. Now I think he's a straight up just a bad guy. He's no good. So Bill Maher made a blog post bashing not only Stan Lee, who just died, but comic book fans in general. So in a blog post, Bill Maher slammed Americans for using their quote-unquote smarts on stupid stuff and pointed out he thought fans were overreacting in moments following Stan Lee's passing. Okay, Bill Maher, you're not a comic book fan. You're into politics. I bet if some senator, some Democratic senator who you voted for 50 years ago died, you would be really upset about it. So maybe fans of comic books can mourn when literally the most influential living person in the comic book medium dies, And for you to crap on people in their time of mourning is absolutely disgraceful. And I will never watch Real Time with Bill Maher again, and I will never support Bill Maher in any way. And my opinion of him has gone from to just disgust. I will never, ever support Bill Maher in any way. Bill Maher went on to say, "Guy who created Spider-Man and the Hulk has died, and America is in mourning." Bill Maher wrote, "Deep, deep mourning for a man who inspired millions to, I don't know, watch a movie, I guess." Really? So you're going to go out there on a public forum and just show how ignorant you are. First of all, Stan Lee wasn't the creator of Spider-Man. That was Steve Ditko. You got to get your facts right. Secondly, Stan Lee was creating for a good 50 years before any of those Marvel movies came out. So the fact that you think he is just a cameo in Marvel movies just shows how ignorant you are and shows that you shouldn't be weighing in on matters like this. So Bill Maher still continues on his little hate spree and says, "Personally, I'm grateful I lived in a world that included oxygen and trees, but to each his own. Now I have nothing against comic books. I read them now and again when I was a kid and all out of Hardy Boys, but the assumption everyone had back then, both adults and kids, is that comics were for kids." Yeah, Bill Maher, back in the 50s, there were a lot of assumptions people had. I bet you disagree with some of them now. So what is this ageism that you're trying to basically shame adult comic book fans with? So it goes on to say, in typical Bill Maher fashion, he personally continued his tirade against comic books, saying the industry is only succeeding because dumb people got to be professors. Absolutely has nothing to do with comic books, but okay. So yeah, basically he's just a hateful garbage tier person. I really have no respect for Bill Maher after reading his statements. He comes out here and attacks Stan Lee and shows his own ignorance in his attack when he doesn't even know what Stan Lee created. So I just wanted to get this statement out there. First thing, there might be more news on it, but for now, this is all I've seen. Absolutely disgraceful the way Bill Maher is acting, and I hope he releases an apology. But that's all for now. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll have more regular comic book reviews coming out soon. It's honestly really discouraging to do comic book reviews because maybe 40 people watch them. So yeah, I could spend 4 or 5 hours to get a review video with 40 views, or I could just slap up a news article and probably get a few hundred. So anyways, little disillusioned with YouTube as well as Bill Maher. But that's all for now. Thanks for watching, subscribe and all that stuff. Talk to you later.
End of line.